Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Biz Snap Show. I'm Bernadette Bose, and it's brought to you by Ball of Fire Coaching. We showcase small businesses so they thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future. And I'm so excited to welcome our guest, Rocky, the Profit Answer Man. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here today.
You are
Honored to
so
be here.
welcome. You are so welcome. And I just absolutely love that brand, the Profit Answer Man. And he's going to tell us all about that. But before you get into all of that, let's just hear a little bit about Rocky and, where are you? Some background about who you are.
Sure. I'm an immigrant to the United States. My parents brought me here from India when I was a little kid. And when they came over at that time, they were only allowed to bring a certain amount of currency outside. And so they started off with $25 and
Wow.
second time in life. And so I got to watch them and a lot of their friends who had come over around the second time, around the same time, move up the economic ladder. So I got to see how they built wealth, how they did things. And it was surprising because they would all get together and they would talk about life. And as part of talking about life, they would talk about money. They would converse about how much were you spending on this? How much were you making? How did you make those choices? And so as a kid, I got to listen to them talking about money. And I never realized until much, much later in life that people don't talk about money,
Right.
that they
Right.
don't have these conversations, that most people don't have a financial background. And it's funny because I have a Bachelor of Science in Economics and I have an MBA. They never taught me how to build wealth. That didn't come from education. You had to seek that out on your own. And for whatever reason, when I was a kid, I just had a goal. I wanted to be a millionaire. And I was always told as a kid, you could be whatever you wanted. So I had that growth mindset of success and got out of college and just started putting processes and systems into place to build wealth the old fashioned way, slowly over time.
Right.
So that's kind of what I did. And then finally had enough of corporate. And so I left to kind of do my own business and do what I love, which is helping other people thrive financially.
That's awesome. And I'm sorry, where are you out of?
I'm in Pennsylvania, but I work virtually. So I work with
Sure.
people all over the world.
Sure. No. I just like to know where people are from because right now I'll tell you I'm from Philly originally.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
my entire family lives in Philly and I'm in Atlanta, but very cool. Very cool. Oh, I love that story, especially when you also don't realize just what you're hearing as a child can become you know, your destiny, so to speak. So tell us about your business, because obviously we kind of have an idea of where where it went, but tell us about your business specifically.
So basically, what I do is, in a sense, I'm kind of like a CFO for a business, and I work fractionally. So most business owners can't afford to get great help until they're super big, but yet they need help. And
Right.
so I found that niche and said, I can help those business owners who can't afford a full time person at a very reasonable fee to work with me part time. And what I do is I go through their numbers and I help them make wiser financial decisions. And then the other thing I did is I partnered with Mike Michalowicz, who wrote Profit First. And so I
Ah,
help business owners implement the Profit First system so that they can viscerally feel how their money is flowing. When you look at spreadsheets, it's all complicated. When
right,
you look at your bank account, it's simple. And this
right.
system was designed because he made so many mistakes. He said, how can I make a system for finances that works for the entrepreneur, not for the accountant? And so that's what that's all about.
Well, and you because you raised a great point at the very beginning in your story about just the fact that we're not necessarily educated, around money and handling money, yet let alone when it comes to the numbers if you have a business. And then so we're having to figure it out ourselves. But why figure it out yourself when you have someone like yourself and a system that can, especially for small business owners, those that are starting, even managing, let alone growing, to have kind of that foundation and that system to be able to follow. That is absolutely awesome. So, who are your clients based on what you just explained as far as what that system does?
So my clients generally are business owners who know how to generate revenue. So they're probably between 500,000 to 5 million in sales. In other
Okay.
words, they can afford me and I'm very reasonable for them,
Right.
but they're not big enough to have a full-time person yet.
Yep.
That said, if you're a beginning business owner or you're just getting started and you can read the book and implement, you don't need, I don't bring anything more that's magical. Well, I do bring, I mean, in the sense that I take the time to actually dig through. I
Sure.
always explain it like this. It's like going to the gym. You can go to the gym and you can do everything yourself, or you can go to the gym and have a trainer and
Hmm.
a dietitian and a cook.
Yep.
The guy who's got the last three is going to go much further faster because every time there's a problem, there's going to be a solution and an answer.
Yep.
But if you can't afford that help, you can still do everything that I talk about. You just have to do it.
Right. No, that's awesome. And I would even throw out in support of what you do, and even the book, but I would even throw out from my own experience. Don't also assume that you can afford. So if you do want someone like, like Rocky on your team, they should be, you should be asking him just about it. And then you can make a decision from there, because I had an IRS issue from a very young age in my like early 20s. And ever since then, I've always had a financial person on my team. Just because, one, I want them to educate me like you do, coach and guide me, and help me understand how to navigate it myself. It just was an extra security blanket.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just absolutely love that. Now, tell us a little bit more about the profit system that you work with. Like, why is it so effective?
So the first thing we did was change the equation. Most people use the equation sales minus expenses equals profit. That's what your
Okay.
accountant has told you. Where is
Right.
profit? It's at the end, it's a leftover, right?
Yep.
You all know to pay yourself first. So we changed the equation to sales minus profit equals expenses. You pay yourself first, and then what's left you can spend on the business. Because what I find most business owners don't realize is a dollar in revenue is not equal to a dollar in spending.
Yes.
You need to bring in $100 in revenue to have maybe 5 or 10 discretionary dollars in spending. But when you look at your bank account and you see $100, you don't think like that. You think I got $100 to spend.
Mhm.
And so you get stuck on this treadmill, this hamster wheel, and you're always behind. What the system does is, you probably heard of Dave Ramsey and his envelope
Sure.
system.
Sure.
It's the exact same system for business owners, except we use bank accounts instead of envelopes. And as
Nice.
the money comes in, we allocate it to where it belongs: your taxes, your paycheck, your profit, your expenses. Certain businesses have certain other needs, and we'll allocate money. So all your money, as soon as it comes in, is told what to do and is sent there to do it.
And for someone who's so visual,
Mhm,
you just in that little last part of that explanation just gave me this visual
mhm.
of how I can, especially when you mentioned Dave Ramsey's envelopes. And for those of you who don't know it, we don't need to explain it here. You can go and look it up. But at the same time, what I would do is I would go to Rocky and learn more about him and what he does, and then also the book. And the system is the most important part. But yes, that created such a visual for me, which makes it so much more obtainable, so much more realistic as to how you can handle it. That's awesome. So the customer, and are there particular industries, particular segments? You have a dollar volume that you typically work with, but is there a sector that is a sweet spot for you?
There's not a sector that's a sweet spot. There's a person who's a sweet spot.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yep.
if you're the type of person who, when you have to look at your financial reports, you want to crawl up into a ball and cry, and you don't want to do it, right? If you look at a spreadsheet and it makes no sense to you, that's the person that I can help the most. And I'll tell you where they show up. They show up as attorneys, they show up as doctors, they show up in real estate, they show up as creatives. There's a lot of people who aren't math people,
Right.
and they need someone in that seat to do the math for them. So a lot of people say, well, you're going to be a line item expense for me. And I tell, no, I'm a profit center. I
Right.
help find profit in your business and I show you how to do that. And for many of my clients, I literally put 10x my fee in cash into their pocket because I save them that much money.
Sweet. Sweet. Quantitative measurements, everybody. He brings them to you. It's called ROI, return on investment. And he, like he said, he's not a cost, he's an investment. It's something that, that you should be investing when it comes to your business. Now, I do want you to mention for me, you have a podcast called the Profit Answer Man.
So, yeah, I have a podcast. It's called The Profit Answer Man. And what I did in that podcast was I took this entire book and I highlighted every single chapter into an episode. So you don't even have to buy the book, right? Don't spend money. Go listen to the podcast. You'll get all the top line information for free. I've even got a free Excel sheet that you can download in there. If you want to take a look at the book, if you go to my website, Profit Comes First, you can download 2 chapters to the book for free.
Nice.
So you can get that. It's all about cutting costs, and we actually live it. We try to do everything we can so that you don't spend money.
Yeah.
And so those are all available there. And if you want to chat with me for 15 minutes, it's free. Just book a call and say, does this work for me? Is it affordable? Can we make it work?
Right.
And then I also have another podcast. It's called Richer Soul. And that podcast is You Got Rich, Now What? It's about how to live the life of your dreams, how to know your purpose, have the right mindsets, and then find harmony with health, wealth, time, relationships, and spirituality. And how does your business and your life come together?
That's awesome. Woo, woo. Yeah, accelerating, creating those riches. That's what Rocky's doing for you, everybody. Now, will you tell us all the best contact information for people to reach out to you? I know you've mentioned, your website and whatnot, but as a whole, just mention all the different ways that they can get in touch with you.
So the one website is Profit Comes First.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast is Profit Answer Man, whatever podcast player. The other website and podcast is Richer Soul. So you can go to richersoul.com or you can just put that in your podcast player. Yep. And if you want to email me, it's Rocky at either of those websites and it will come directly to me.
You have to love people that make it easy, right? That's why we're going to help showcase him and allow him to continue to thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future. And Rocky, I'm so thankful that you reached out, that we were able to showcase you. This was great. And seriously, people out there, have someone like a Rocky in your corner. I can't tell you the amount of peace and calm, let alone profit that it provides you. But thank you so much, Rocky, for being part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. And that is true. The people who've used this system, they're sleeping in the middle of COVID because they have cash vaults to handle it.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen. That's fabulous. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Biz Snap Show, brought to you by Ballafire Coaching. And if you have a small business that you want to showcase in a 15-minute snap, which means snappy accelerator networking pitch, then reach out to me directly, Bernadette Bose at ballafireinc.com. And I would love to make sure that you're showcased. All right. But for now, we'll see you for the next episode of the Biz Snap Show. Take care, everybody. Bye.